I have to produce these at least 3 days a week, sometimes more, and this is all to drive traffic to our website, which with a phenomenal number of hits that gets, I mean, I can't tell you. But feel free to check them out. Some of them are serious, some of them are not, some of them are light-hearted, some of them are, some women would tell me in the office, offensive. So as you can see, no, that was all fairly light-hearted. It was about X Factor. It was no, you're not interested, right? But yeah, so that will take up part of my day as well. Maybe doing meeting people who come to STV, possibly going out and doing interviews. The point about it is the day varies, always varies, and that's what makes the job such a pleasure. But typically it's 9 till 6:30 in the evening.
A lot of people say that the future of television is on the internet.
Yeah.
And in technology. What can we do to kind of keep up with that and make sure that people...
Well, this has constantly been said, but part of the problem, that's an awful still. Part of the problem is that everybody's saying that the internet is the future, and it is, but there's all sorts of problems in trying to make money out of that. And I don't think anybody really is. I mean, that's what Rupert Murdoch is talking about, that they are now thinking that all his companies will charge for access, so you Sky News, Times, whatever, to get access to their... Excuse me.
I did some digging. I realised Claire's parents recently divorced. Claire was finding it difficult to cope. We were able to find ways to make things better for Claire while she was at school.
Because if you're putting all that information out there, and people are accessing it for nothing, all you're getting is money from the adverts, and that's not paying a great deal just now. And plus, if you start charging for it, which is what he wants to do, and get everybody else to be part of that, you've still got the BBC there as a free provider of a top-class internet service. So it hasn't settled down how the internet's going to service news. You know, you can get it on your phone, you can get it wherever, it's instant. So I think that is the idea of being aware of the technology, being aware of the way that it's moving, and understanding the need to get stories out like that. I don't believe, for example, that 24-hour news is the way forward, because you know, the logo that Sky has now got is never wrong for long, because the Lockerbie bomber, according to Sky, has died twice already, because they haven't had time to really consider it. In 24-hour news, it's this idea that you've got to get the news instantly, and then often it's wrong. So there's this idea of instant news, getting it to your phone straight away, but there's also what is undermined by that all the time is accuracy. So you need to be aware of all of how to access all of that. But you would also need to be aware, and it's not just you, this is management as well, this is the news industry as a whole has to work out how you can get it instant and how you can get it accurate. And too often you can't. But I would say that, for example, we're talking here about TV, we're talking about radio, we're talking about newspapers, we're talking about online. I think for anybody who's getting into the media now, what you're going to be doing is bits of all of it. And particularly TV, video, and online. That's a way forward. And that means knowing how to work cameras like that, knowing how to do an interview, doing an awful lot of it on its own. STV years ago used to have, if it was over 2 minutes, if the piece was over 2 minutes long, I think you had to have a full crew. So that was a reporter, a cameraman, a director, a PA, a driver. I think there was 8 people in all, a lighting man, a sound man. I can't remember what the 8th was. For a 2-minute piece. Whereas now, it's there, it's that camera, it's that microphone, and you're doing it all yourself. So be aware of the technology, be comfortable handling cameras, be comfortable with sound and all the rest of it. Broaden your experience.
Do you think it would be worth us doing our own vlogs and things like that?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's something you can show to people. Nobody will watch them, but but you can still do it. Yeah, absolutely. Get yourself out there. Again, STV is starting this because we're very much promoting it online now. We want people to, anything to do with Scotland, you come to STV's website, and it's proving increasingly successful. But one of the things we're doing there is written blogs as well, which are very controversial. Now, you can do controversial blogs, but the problem is sometimes it's just simply inaccurate. So, yeah, do your blogs, get them noticed, but back it up with knowledge and with proper argument. Don't just do it for sensationalism's sake.
So, the BBC and STV, have you ever been tempted to move over to the other side?
Well, I did. I moved from BBC to STV, but not been asked. No, I haven't. And part of the reason for that is I like what I do at STV. I like our approach to news. I think the BBC is is hindered by the fact that because it's publicly funded, it is the state broadcaster, as we like to call it. Because it's publicly funded, it does have certain responsibilities. It has to tick certain boxes, and that's quite apparent from the programme that's on air. Reporting Scotland has a budget that is at least double, if not 3 times what we have, and yet, over the course of a week, they'll beat us maybe 3 times, we'll beat them twice, and then the next week we'll beat them 3 times, they'll beat us twice. So we're on parity pretty much. Maybe overall they beat us ever so slightly, but by the same token, with 3 times the budget, you would expect that they should. And part of what hamstrings the BBC is this idea that you have to do certain areas, you have to do certain stories, you have to match certain whatever, whereas we just go with what's a good news story. And also we're faster moving, we've got more cameras. I found the BBC to be very much a culture of bureaucracy, whereas we weren't. We were more concerned with counting the pennies, but we were faster moving because the BBC is it's like the country in general, bureaucracy gone mad. Sorry. Well, again, I don't think you could put that down in terms of anything that's hard and fast. There can be very unusual news stories that all might turn out to be very good, whereas initially you wouldn't think so. So a lot of it comes down to what interests me. A lot of it comes down to what I think would interest the audience. And do you know, fundamentally, a lot of it comes down to what people are talking about. You know, your water cooler moment. What are people actually talking about? Would this story interest people? And that quite often dictates how we will go for things. And you have a division between a classic difference between the BBC and STV, and this would apply to BBC nationally and ITV as well, is that BBC will by and large go on issues. We will by and large go on people. If we're doing a story on a problem in the health service, we will want somebody, a person who's suffered whatever the problem is. You know, a shortage of blood, say, we would want to tell the story of the person who missed out on the blood, as opposed to the issue of politicians debating about getting more blood in the health service. That's a very basic example, but that is the basic principle of it. We're always looking for people stories that reflect national issues. To say what makes a good story, the Lockerbie bombing was clearly, anybody would recognise that as such. So a lot of stories on that level. But then you go further down and it just comes down to judgment. A lot of that is experience, and a lot of that is your contact with your audience. And that's where STV wins out. We know our audience probably better than Reporting Scotland do, I would argue.
The location of STV and the BBC Specific Key,
yeah.
And the way it's kind of being designed to be sort of the technology hub. Do you find that you work together more than you're all together in stages, or is it still quite separate?
I mean, by and large, the journalists, we all know each other pretty well, and there's, you know, on any given day, everybody gets on fine. And there'll be a lot of people who help each other out. But it's been more formalised just this last year. We have a memorandum of understanding with the BBC in which we, certain diary events, particularly sport actually, their camera will do what. So supposing you had a Rangers news conference and a Celtic news conference, their camera will do one, our camera will do the other, and we'll swap tapes, because that helps both in terms of resources. So that's actually formalised now. But on the ground, it's always been fairly reasonable. There's no great hassle when it comes to that. There are 1 or 2 individuals who are a bit precious about it, but by and large, everybody works well. So their moving and our moving didn't really change that at all, because you were still meeting not where you work, but on the stories themselves. You're bored now. All I would say to you, just to conclude, is that it is, as I was saying to the woman there, it's a great career. You will meet things. I have done things, met people that I can't imagine I would ever do, and under normal circumstances never would have. Every day can be different. Sometimes it goes into a rut and routine, but it has the potential to be different all the time. It is a fantastic career. But it's not going to fall in your lap. You're going to have to work at it, and you're going to have to prove yourself in a very competitive environment. That doesn't mean to say you have to lose your own values or anything, but it has to show that you're determined, that you're professional. But the rewards in terms of experience will more than make up for that.